Well, tonight, members of the Cocoanut Federation have expressed their determination to rake in over $2 billion annually if government addresses all bottlenecks hindering the economic potential of the sector. Speaking to Joy Business, President of the Federation, Patrick Ndabia, said the export potential of the commodity is huge and cannot be overemphasized. Fred Duho was there and filed this report.
According to the president of the Coconut Federation of Ghana, government must commit enough resources to the coconut value chain, as the demand for coconut has the potential of generating enough revenue above what the cocoa sector is offering.
We need some engagement of all stakeholders so that the coconut industry is embraced by all. Because we know, apart from cocoa, that the government is relying on the revenue on cocoa, I think coconut has a very huge potential that if the government assists the farmers or the federation, will be able to rake the much needed revenue for the development of this country. And I know that if the government supports the federation to do all that it can, in the next 4 years, will generate revenue more than even cocoa, because coconut is all year-round crop and it is a exportable crop. So if the government pay attention on the industry and support both financially and materially, will be able to compete with the cocoa revenue.
Some of the challenges confronting the coconut production include the lack of exotic varieties and absence of good roads leading to coconut farms.
A lot of interventions that the government has to look at. One, the feeder roads leading to these farm plantations are very bad, that we need the support of the government in this area. Two, we are asking the government also to help us with the certified planting material, like seedlings, that the farmers will need. And again, we also call on the government to do some diversification in this policy, that the coconut industry should also enjoy some like outgrower scheme, so that the farmers will be happy, the farmers will be able to live financially.
Saka Ahmed is an exporter of coconut. He tells Joy Business they are unable to meet local demand, even though the export market is enormous.
If you look at the potentials of coconut in the export market, it's very, very huge. If you look at what Philippines are doing, you look at what Indonesia, Vanuatu, you look at what is happening in India and Malaysia, as far as coconut is concerned, it's very, very huge. And we in the export sector, currently my company and other companies have had huge orders as far as coconut is concerned. My company, actually Novelty Coconut Limited, had an export order to export 360 40-footer containers. That was in 2017. But the challenge actually has to do with farmers. One, in terms of standards, it was actually very difficult to get farmer associations that are doing coconut to have Global Gap certification. And if you look at what is happening in the international market, if you don't have Global Gap certification, it will be very difficult for you to get your product into the international market.
I am Fred Duho for Joy Business.
The National Insurance Commission, NIC, has come up with a model to help deal with the low insurance penetration rate in the country. The level is currently pegged at less than 3%, responding to the recent fire outbreak that ravaged parts of the Accra Academy SHS and whether the school was insured or not. The Insurance Commissioner, Justice Yao Ofori, explained teaching insurance at the basic level will make an impact. There's more in this report.
Insurance penetration rate stands at less than 3%. This means that less than 1% of the entire population and some corporate institutions are without insurance cover. Responding to the need for heightened awareness of insurance, Commissioner of Insurance Justice Yao Ofori explained that teaching insurance at the basic level will go a long way to expose the young ones to the importance of insurance.
Ensuring that the fundamentals of insurance are set right amongst our students. The theme also reflects three objectives of the insurance sector. First of all, it is expected that this initiative will increase insurance awareness amongst our students and aim at improving the understanding of insurance in general. It is also our firm conviction that this initiative would create a paradigm shift among students with regards to career development choices.
Meanwhile, Joy Business is learning that the Accra Academy Senior High School is not under any insurance cover. Chairman of the Insurance Awareness Coordinators Group, Wilson Tay, said this at the launch of the basic insurance education in second cycle institutions.
There was a big fire at Accra Academy, and incidentally, I happen to be the chairman of the board of Accra Academy. And the kind of questions that I've had thrown at me embarrassed me, because people asked me, is the school insured? And my answer, unfortunately, is no. Why is the school not insured? And for that matter, why are all other government institutions not insured? And I'm very sure that that is because of lack of knowledge.
I think insurance is very, very important, because education on insurance helps us to understand the careers, job opportunities in insurance, and also to buy insurance when you attain properties or assets in the future.
Did you ever plan, exploring a career in insurance ever before even having to enroll at Accra Girls?
No.
Why?
I didn't know much about insurance, but I just learned, so I think I would think more about it and plan on going for a job opportunity in insurance.
That's great. Jake, you also deal with electricals, and I do know in your field you don't want to be an engineer or something. Have you ever thought about insurance?
Yeah.
You have?
Yes, please.
So what do you make about insurance?
Well, as a matter of insurance, we need to be very much insured. For instance, for what I do, we deal with tools and equipment and machines. So in case of anything, maybe you are working with a machine and accidentally you get hurt. And if you are not insured, that will be kind of hard for you to get your safety or your health back. So I think insurance is very much important.
The GES-NIC IACJ Basic Insurance Education at the Second Cycle Institutions initiative is the outcome of a series of engagements with the Ghana Education Service to promote a 2-hour education on the basis of insurance.
Well, if you're an MTN subscriber especially, this next story may interest you. Mobile operator MTN says it is migrating data subscribers onto different lines to help manage current challenges with its main subsea cables. The mobile operator yesterday had its data services disrupted due to a cut in some of the subsea cables in London and in Portugal. Corporate Services Executive Samuel Quantin says they are committed to restoring full services to subscribers.
Realize that the data service are not completely off. The challenge is intermittent because we rely on other cable systems like the ACE cable system, main 1 and SAT3 as well. But then the wax cable carries most of the traffic, and the impact on this cable, which was the high ultra capacity cable, has been quite sharp. But then you would realize that the services are slowly coming up because the teams are working very hard to restore capacity on that particular cable, and we're rerouting more traffic through the ACE system and other cable systems.
Well, joining me with more on this is Kobe Spike Nkrumah, host of Geek Squad on Joy 99.7 FM, also our tech guru in the house. He's been following this story for us keenly. So explain to us a bit more about what the challenge is.
So, like they've been mentioning, so 2 undersea cables. These cables run from where the internet actually comes from, out along the coast through the West Africa sub-region all the way to South Africa. So countries like Gabon, Namibia, Angola, Congo, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Zambia, Gambia, Ghana, all the way to South Africa. These are all suffering. If you're looking at your screen, you can see that these are the cables that that run along Africa, undersea cables that connect us to the internet. So you have the purple one, which is wax, and that's one of the cables that has been, severed. And you have Glow over there, you have ACE. All these cables run under the sea to provide us with internet. So if something happens to them, it affects all the people depending on where it happened, affects all the people on the line. So currently, all those after us are all suffering these cuts. And some are getting their systems restored, some still suffering. In South Africa, for instance, they're also complaining about downtimes. Up to about 12 countries are complaining.
Wow. I know in Ghana we usually hear of issues of fiber cuts, but what did it this time? What caused the fiber cut?
Also submarine.
Wow.
Yes, so submarine.
Wow. And the extent to which it has affected so many countries, that's very serious.
It's very serious. And it just sort of lets us understand how very complicated these systems are and how very important it is as businesses and service providers to have redundancies and failovers, because anything could happen. And if you're a business and you're only relying on one service provider for, you know, your service, and that service goes down, then everything goes down with it.
All right. And so there is some good news, as you've been telling me. Some countries like South Africa are having their systems restored.
Yes, so some of them are still working on it.
What was the situation in Ghana, do we know?
So currently we don't know, but I'm following this on there's a service called NetBlocks, and they monitor internet connectivity and service providers across the world, internet service across the world. So they've been giving us updates. They're the ones saying that in Zambia and Zimbabwe, their services are being restored, and Gabon, their services have been restored. Gambia, Mali, Mauritania, and Niger have been restored. Namibia, Angola, DR Congo, Botswana, and us, obviously, we're all having issues.
And if you follow social media a lot, you see that so many people are complaining about services of MTN. I know a couple of people from other networks have also raised issues. I don't know whether they are linked, but people are complaining, but businesses too are suffering. Tell us a bit more about what you're hearing from your friends in the tech business. What are they saying?
Well, so a lot of businesses have been complaining because most people have just one internet service provider. So, for instance, you're trying to do something, it's not working, your client is expecting, you know, stuff from you, you're not unable to send. So, and those who run applications on the cloud, they're also suffering a lot because you can't connect. And so they've had to get different service providers, and it's a problem. It's just that I wish most of these businesses had thought about this then had failovers and redundancy services available. So the moment one system goes down, you have one that automatically picks up, and then you don't even notice the downtime.
Okay, that's interesting. And so what would you advise for businesses who are struggling at this point? What alternatives? Since they didn't anticipate this, they didn't make alternative arrangements, there's no way to go about it.
Well, yeah, it's already happened, but so as much as possible, make sure that you always have a redundancy in place.
And quick one, because we have to wrap up on this one. What kind of pressure do you think it puts on MTN?
It puts a lot of pressure because, like I was mentioning earlier, a couple of years ago, we heard that they lost a lot of money because of something like this. And this is also revenue that they're losing because people can't connect. People want to connect. We're in a connected world now. You and I can't live without the internet. I personally, I think I'd probably rather have internet than food.
Okay.
So it will really...
Great. Thank you very much, Kobe Spike and Kuma. I wanted to find out, can we do away with fiber? But that's, of course, question for somebody else. Thank you very much, Kobe Spike and Kuma. Ghana and the World Bank have signed an agreement that will pave way for the disbursement of about $570 million for some economic activities in the country. The partly loan and partly grant facility will go into 4 main projects aimed at boosting Ghana's growth and supporting the private sector. In a short ceremony to sign the agreement, Minister of Finance Ken Ofori-Atta urged the World Bank to avoid delays in delivering the projects, especially in an election year. Here is Ebenezer Sabote's report.
The new arrangement forms part of a long-standing relationship between the government and the World Bank Group. Out of the total resources committed under the current agreement, $12.39 million constitutes a grant, while $557 million is the total facility. Minister of Finance Ken Ofori-Atta believes that the completion of the project earmarked for the funds will go a long way to boost transformation
for us to move forward. So it's an exciting morning for us. We are pleased about that. The year has just started. This is the 17th day, And I think this year is going to move a lot faster than we even think. And I think one thing that at least we have noticed historically is that usually the development partners begin to get into a very slow mode of implementation in election time. And we want to signal that we do want to work quickly and effectively and efficiently, and that the good work that we are doing should really not be compromised, issues of election year, etc. Because we do have to continue the momentum to ensure that things move the way we want. The citizenry is expectant, always wants more than we can deliver, but that's fine. But then when DPs start go slow approach in election year, it really hurts. And then you have to, crank up the valves again after victory to start all over again.
On his part, Country Director of the World Bank, Pierre-Frank Laporte, disclosed that the World Bank is ready to support government in other projects. He disclosed that the bank is in the process of developing a new 6-year partnership agreement for Ghana.
Okay, the third project is a $200 million Ghana Economic Transformation Project, which aims to promote private investments and firm growth in non-resource-based sectors of the Ghanaian economy. The project will work towards 3 key objectives. First is to improve the business climate to facilitate firm growth and investments. Okay, the second objective is to improve spatial and industrial planning to leverage more private sector investment. And thirdly, improving institutional and financial support to facilitate growth of globally competitive SMEs and startups. The primary beneficiaries of this project are Ghanaian growth-oriented SMEs, entrepreneurs and investors, in addition to line agencies whose capacity to execute the sub-programs will be strengthened.
The World Bank is urging governments to ensure that adequate engagement is done with the beneficiaries of all its projects.
Some good news as we head into the weekend. The Ghana cedi has started posting some marginal appreciation against the US dollar. This is based on forex data from the Bank of Ghana as well as Barclays Bank's daily review of the forex market.
For instance, Barclays Bank's data on market activities show that the cedi from the beginning of this year has appreciated marginally against the dollar by just under 1%. This can be described as one of its best performances against the dollar in a long while. Coming from 2019, the local currency was said to have depreciated by about 15% against the US dollar. Some market players are already describing the development as interesting, so looking at the fact that this is the period that the cedi normally comes under some pressure from its major trading partners. This is due to the fact that in the first 3 months of this year, many of the multinationals are repatriating their profits and dividend payment to their shareholders outside the country, and they therefore demand more dollars to carry out this activity. But not taking anything away from managers of the economy, some market players say it could be attributed to improved dollar supply on the spot, the future forex market. The forex rates have also been fairly stable, but others have also argued that it might be early days yet to establish whether the cedi's challenges are over. There are some who are arguing that we should wait for the end of the first quarter of this year before we can carry out any concrete assessment. For instance, the dollar could be sold to you this morning from about 5 Ghana cedis 70 pesos to 5 Ghana cedis 72 pesos. These are the quotes that the major commercial banks are offering to businesses and individuals for the various dollar transactions that they are supporting.
Meanwhile, central bank governors in the West African region have deferred the position on the single currency introduction and asked their heads of state to take a final decision. This was one of the recommendations captured in a communique issued after a 3-day emergency meeting held in Abuja, Nigeria. And before we go tonight, some news on an offshore pipeline cleaning and inspection exercise that is supposed to get underway. The Ministry of Energy informing the general public that the West African Gas Pipeline Company Limited, WAPCO, operator of the West African gas pipeline will commence a cleaning and inspection of its offshore pipeline from Nigeria to Ghana, often referred to as pigging in the pipeline industry. This customary maintenance activity is intended to protect the integrity and assure safe operations of WAPCO's offshore pipeline, which is the main critical asset of the company transporting natural gas within the 4 West African states of Nigeria, Benin, Togo, and Ghana. The exercise will also start on January 20 and is expected to be completed no later than March 21, 2020. Their activity, it says, is consistent with regulatory requirements and also important for maintaining the integrity of the pipeline to ensure efficient and reliable operations. And that's it for Business Live tonight. Thanks for watching. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Get up to date on all the week's big stories from that website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.